Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching third part of What If Naruto Became Hollow God and Came Back from Death for Hinata. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
The wedding would take some time to begin because honored guests would need to be invited and persuaded to attend this grand event. Even for his Espada, it wouldn't be easy, but they wouldn't be Espada if they couldn't handle difficult situations, and thus wouldn't be worthy of the title. Naruto was sitting on his throne at the time, his future wife still in her wedding gown sitting next to him, their hands intertwined while sitting to symbolize they were together and in love without a doubt. It was visible in their eyes, their body language, and even the energy they exuded when they were together. It radiated a warmth that spread throughout Las Noches, which every Arrancar adored and was relieved to know their master was content. It made everyone in Las Noches work even harder to get the wedding ready, as they all gathered the necessary items for Naruto and the woman he loved. There was only one matter to attend to within its walls before Naruto could enjoy the event, and that matter was right in front of him right now. What's the name of that person? It was known as Grimmjow. Espada number 6. Naruto discovered Grimmjow barely alive after the panther-like Arrancar's fight with Ichigo had ended and the sneak attack by Espada number 5 had left him near death. Naruto had healed the man, but did not trust such an ambitious Espada to keep himself in check after Aizen's death, so Grimmjow was stowed away in the Konoha negation, as Ulquiorra had been. However, Naruto modified Ulquiorra's, because the 4th Espada lacked Fracione, to hold even Grimmjow for much longer, and only let the 6th Espada out when he wished it so they could talk. That time had come. So you're the boss of Las Noches, huh? Grimmjow asked, looking at Naruto with his eyes trying to judge the hollow god, and then at Hinata, who sat on the throne next to him. Boss, king, emperor, and god all rolled into one. Aizen may have been a Shinigami, but he was stronger than you Grimmjow, and I killed Aizen. What do you think? Asked Naruto, who saw Haribel and Ulquiorra in the room and grinned. I believe you're in my seat, Grimmjow replied, a smile on his face and disdain in his blue eyes. Impudent child, Naruto replied, narrowing his eyes at Grimmjow before blasting him with spiritual pressure that brought him to his knees. This ability. It's even heavier than Aizen's was after I walked away from the table during that meeting about intruders entering Las Noches, Grimmjow thought as he sweated profusely and observed the other Espadas unaffected. I know you are proud Grimmjow. You remind me of myself as a child wanting to be the best around. To be the king, if you will. Though that was a long time ago and I will not tolerate an Espada in my ranks with zero respect for my authority. I want you to understand this simple Grimmjow. I respect loyalty and strength from those who follow me. You already have strength, but no loyalty. I can be loyal. I just want respect for my strength, which is greater than that of most of the Arrancar in Las Noches, Grimmjow replied, as Naruto looked down at him. I have always respected Grimmjow's strength, but I don't respect those who don't show restraint when restraint is required. Ulquiorra and Haribel show restraint. Even Stark does with his other half being separated from him to ensure he doesn't kill everyone in range of his power. You constantly flaunt your power like some arrogant child waving around his favorite and mocking everyone with it. Because I am better. Exclaimed Grimmjow, who was thrown back 20 feet after a bala hit the ground in front of him, sending him flying back. That was me being nice, Grimmjow. Next time, I'll hit you with a Sero, and my aim will be dead on. Naruto exclaimed as Grimmjow rose slightly. What do you want from me? Grimmjow inquired of the hollow god. Your loyalty. I know you want to be the strongest Grimmjow. I have no problem with you wanting to get stronger. All I ask is that your strength be used to defend Las Noches and those within it. If you truly wish to be a king, you must learn to love and respect the subjects a king has when ruling over a kingdom. Sure. Can I have some fun on the side? Grimmjow asked, seeing Naruto smirk. Sure. Within reason, Naruto replied, giving Grimmjow a look that said, cross me and you'll wish you were dead. Then go. Your old quarters were left untouched, Naruto said as Grimmjow nodded and exited. Do you think he'll betray you, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, a little worried because Grimmjow was clearly ambitious. No. Grimmjow is ambitious, but he's not stupid. He knows I'm far stronger than him, and any confrontation would be suicide on his part, Naruto reassured before the Exekia's Chelut Rudborn entered and bowed to him. Pardon the intrusion, sir, Rudborn said, but I thought you should know a ship has just docked on our shores, and I noticed the occupants disembarking are Konoha Shinobi. So they bit the bait just like I hoped, and are wedding plans still in the works? Asked Naruto, with Rudborn nodding. Yes, but the preparations are almost finished. The guests are being entertained by some of the triple-digit level Arankars and have not been informed of the unexpected arrival of the uninvited guests, Rudborn replied, smirking. I see. It's time I get ready for our wedding, Hinata-chan. Harabel, escort Hinata to where the wedding ceremony will take place. Ulquiorra, walk with me because we have a lot to talk about. Rudborn, make sure the guests are well protected by the Exekias, and no leaf shinobi harms them, Naruto said as he left via Sonito while Harabel walked with Hinata to the. Ulquiorra walked in step slightly behind Naruto as he went to get dressed in more wedding-appropriate attire, and they were silent for some time. Naruto did this to collect his thoughts on the wedding, his vision of the future with Hinata, and the Arankars of Las Noches. Ulquiorra remained silent because it was inappropriate for him to speak first. Tell me, Ulquiorra, what do you see when you look at humans? Naruto asked, the Espada looking at him briefly. I honestly don't care one way or the other. Most of them are trash in my opinion, Ulquiorra replied, his usual dry, I don't really care, tone. Most? Inquired Naruto, raising an eyebrow. There are some humans deserving of being spared death and despair, Ulquiorra clarified his previous response. What do you think of Hinata? Asked Naruto, with Ulquiorra pausing briefly before responding. Hyuga Hinata is a strong woman in her own right for a human. She reminds me of the woman named Orihime. They are both gentle, wishing to heal and protect others with their respected powers, Ulquiorra responded, with Naruto nodding in agreement. Can you see why I love her? Asked Naruto, pausing for Ulquiorra to think for a moment before responding. Yes. While I do not fully understand humans and their emotions, I see this woman has that emotion in herself for you. Hyuga Hinata could have moved on. Hyuga Hinata could have been with any other human male in this world and yet she chose you. Not Uchiha Sasuke. Not Inuzuka Kiba. Not some wealthy and politically connected man several if not many years older than herself, Ulquiorra explained as they entered the changing room and the servants began to. And I, in turn, love her. You don't know this Ulquiorra, but Hinata fought her cousin in the Chunin exam preliminaries, and she was hesitant at first to do battle. Do you know why? Asked Naruto, who was staring at Ulquiorra. Because of her gentle nature, Ulquiorra replied. Yes and no. Hinata's gentle nature is one reason, but it's also because she was fighting a member of her family, and Hinata did not want to fight a member of her family just to advance in rank. It's a shame her cousin did not feel the same way and has fallen back into being the arrogant jerk I remember seeing in the chapel at that farce of a wedding, replied Naruto, Ulquiorra raising an eyebrow. I see, Ulquiorra said simply, as if he understood. No, Ulquiorra. Not until you have your own family. Not until you are forced to fight someone of your own blood. You understand the concept, but you don't truly understand what I'm referring to, and won't understand unless you experience it like she did, Naruto explained as the servants finished dressing him. My apologies, Naruto-sama, Ulquiorra said, before Naruto waved it off and placed a hand on the Espada's shoulder. There is no need for that, Ulquiorra. You have lived a life of despair, and no one taught you how to understand emotions. Whether Aizen did it for a reason or not is irrelevant at the moment. The point is you only have to apologize for things worth apologizing for, and this isn't one of them, Naruto said with a smile, while Ulquiorra raised an eyebrow. I don't think I'll ever understand human emotions, Ulquiorra replied, smirking at him. We'll see. Let's not keep my future wife waiting because it's considered bad manners, Naruto explained before using Sonito to reach the outside wedding altar. Outside the walls of Las Noche. So this is where Naruto lives, huh? Said Jiraiya, looking up to see the massive wall that was smooth and had a strange feeling to it. We need to get there fast. I will not let Hinata live that thing. Exclaimed Kurenai, as she had done her best to make Hinata stop loving Naruto, but the Hyuga girl had long since abandoned the means of being weak, and the death of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki only made her now former student fight back against the tide. Troublesome. This wall repels chakra, so walking up is out of the question, Nara Shikaku said as he tried to push chakra against the wall and was repelled. So that's out. How about summoning Toad Boss Jiraiya? Could we just go in using the old smash and grab routine? Inoichi asked, with Jiraiya shaking his head. I can't. Don't you remember? Jiraiya asked, as it was something only the Hokage, councils, and clan heads knew about until now, with the others present. Remember what? Asuma asked, as the others flinched. I can't summon the toads anymore, nor can I use my Sage mode because I need Ma and Pa Toad to enter the form. It happened shortly after Naruto's execution, thanks to Sabaku no Tamari of Suna and her weasel summons telling just about every summoning animal in the summoning world what we did, Jiraiya explained as his thoughts returned to that day. Hokage Tower flashback. Despite the various countries and shinobi villages terminating alliances with us, I'm fairly confident that our strength alone will be more than enough to handle our enemies. Kakashi will focus on Uchiha Sasuke learning how to use his Sharingan to its full potential and suppressing the power of the Biju in the Jinchuriki from other villages, Tsunade said as they began to conclude their meeting over recent activities following his demise. Is there any new business before we wrap up this meeting? Kaharu asked, with almost everyone shaking their heads no. Previously, a massive amount of smoke filled the center of the room, alerting everyone to the possibility of a surprise attack. When the smoke cleared, everyone in the room was taken aback to see the great Toad Sage himself sitting in his chair, with Ma and Pa on either side of him, both looking irritated. The room was outfitted with special seals that allowed it to instantly expand to accommodate people of colossal proportions. Ma? Pa? Ogama-sama? What's going on? Jiraiya asked, stepping forward, but the three toads and their glare stopped him. I should be asking you that, Jiraiya, because word has reached us and the rest of the toads about your treachery. Exclaimed Ogama, his power rising from his old body and demonstrating that his age did not make him easy prey. Treachery? What treachery? Jiraiya asked, taking a few steps back from them. Do not play us for fools, Jiraiya. We know everything about your actions against Naruto and his death. You purposefully terminated the contract he had with us so we would be kept in the dark. Fortunately for us, a messenger from the Weasels came and explained what happened to Naruto after being told by its own summoner what she witnessed. How dare you betray Minato's son? Exclaimed Pa, with Jiraiya flinching under. We did what we thought was necessary, Pa. The boy's power was unstable and a threat to everyone. Your own prophecy foretold he had the power to destroy the world, Ogama-sama. Replied Jiraiya, the great Toad Sage glaring at him. You fool. I predicted that he would either save or destroy the world, and which side Naruto chose when the time came would be determined by your actions toward him. exclaimed Ogama, with Pa and Ma nodding in agreement. Well, now we don't have to worry about the demon brat because he's dead and the world is no longer threatened, Danzo said, pleased with himself and everyone else for their part in preventing a prophecy from coming true. It made him feel divine. What makes you think the prophecy won't come true? Countered Ogama, causing everyone with smirks on their faces to leave and their eyes to widen. Are you saying the prophecy will come true, even after Naruto's death? Tsunade inquired as she noticed the great toad sage looking at her. Death does not prevent a prophecy from occurring. It only delays and alters it. As a result of your actions, I see the coming darkness, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. Exclaimed Ogama, as Jiraiya began to sweat. We stopped your prophecy before, great toad sage, and we can do it again, Danzo replied, firm in his belief that he could change the world and stop this prophecy. Not this time. I see a distant shattered land where this darkness will come from. Many will gather to fight him, but no one will survive his wrathful hand. All will bow before the power of the Empty One. None can stand against the might of the Hollow God. Ominously exclaimed Ogama to the people in the room. Jiraiya. For your betrayal of both Minato and Naruto, we hereby strip you of your sage powers and the toad summoning contract. Never again will the toads help a shinobi affiliated with Konoha, said Pa before he and Ma extracted Jiraiya's sage energy and sealed it away. Jiraiya had no idea what the toads had in store for her. He felt a large piece of himself being ripped away and collapsed to the ground on his knees. He felt older now, as if 10 years of his life had been sucked right out of him. Jiraiya looked up to see the toads glaring down at him, and all he could do was glare back before they were gone. Flashback concludes. They took away your ability to be a sage? Asuma inquired, noticing Jiraiya's nod. Yeah. Tsunade also lost her ability to summon slugs, and Gamabunta informed Katsuyu of what they perceived to be our betrayal of Naruto and his parents. Jiraiya replied with a sigh, wondering how they planned to get into the massive fortress. Troublesome. Given our options, let's keep trying to walk up the wall using some old-school shinobi methods used before chakra control was perfected, and rescue our target, Shikaku said, with the others agreeing as they put on steel hand and foot spikes before climbing up the wall. He might be a lazy sloth of a shinobi, but the Nara is smart, Kurenai observed as he joined the others. They had a Hyuga to save and a leaf trader to punish, along with Naruto. I can't believe it. You're actually back from the dead, exclaimed Koyuki as she hugged the Arrancar and was surprised to see Naruto standing before her, all dressed up and ready to marry her as if his death had never happened. Yeah. It's good to be back, Naruto said as he returned the hug and walked over to Gaara to shake his hand. You are the most unpredictable man I've ever known, Gaara said, and Naruto laughed because he was right. You know me, Gaara. If I suddenly became predictable, I'd be boring, Naruto replied, with Gaara smirking at him. Wow. Naruto became quite popular. Much better than the Uchiha or the slacker Shikamaru. I can't believe I had a minor crush on the lazy sloth, Tamari reflected, recalling her feelings for Shikamaru and how the Nara had been so stupid in siding with the rest of Konoha in wanting Naruto dead. Troublesome. Even if Naruto wasn't the monster inside his stomach, the risk of the fox escaping is too great, and in shogi, a player's strongest piece must sometimes be sacrificed for the overall victory. Overall triumph, my Iron Fan. Shikamaru was simply too lazy and stupid to think this through. I could never sacrifice Gaara in such a way before or after Naruto helped him out, Tamari thought as Naruto walked over to greet Tazuna, Tsunami, and Inari from Wave Country. I'm sorry for not coming over sooner. You looked deep in thought, Naruto said, Temari shaking Shikamaru's words from her mind. No. Well. Maybe a little bit. Still, I can't believe you're back, and with all of this. Exclaimed Temari, who was surprised to see Mitarashi Anko of all people here as the maid of honor for this wedding. What can I say? I'm full of surprises. Replied Naruto before signaling the music crew on standby to start playing wedding music. It was time to get started. It is taking place. Naruto-kun, I'm going to marry you. Thought Hinata, as she shook with delight at her dream, which had once been a painful reminder of what could never be, was now becoming a reality, and it made the Hyuga girl's heart swell. After Naruto's death, she wished to take control of her clan and change it in order to honor him, and she worked hard to become Hyuga clan head. She would train until her body was too sore to move, with each spar against a clan member being a win in her favor. Still, it wasn't enough for her so-called father, who appeared irritated that his usually weak daughter had grown a spine and was defying him by refusing to banish Naruto from her thoughts. He didn't mind that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki was her reason for growing stronger, but that made it all the more important for Hiashi to get rid of Hinata as soon as possible. She still remembered the day Tsunade announced her marriage to Uchiha Sasuke. It had nearly destroyed her, and Tsunade was well aware of it. The Hokage had a triumphant expression on her face after humiliating someone who still loved Naruto and leaving that person powerless to stop it. Until now, that is. Are you ready, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked, his face flushed red. Ready. Hinata said, trying not to pass out and hoping this wasn't a nightmare she'd be forced to wake up from. Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today under the gaze of Kami to see one Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto and one Hyuga Hinata bound in holy matrimony. If there is anyone here who believes these two should not be wed, please speak up now, or forever hold your peace, Koyuki said, noting that no one spoke up. Who would do that? They better not say anything unless they want Naruto to blow them up into tiny pieces so small you'd need a supercharged Byakugan to find them, Anko reasoned, knowing that was the end result of someone doing the stupidest thing in the history of stupid things. Do you Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto take Hyuga Hinata as your wife? In sickness and in health? For richer or for poorer? For better or for worse? For as long as you both shall live? Koyuki asked, and Naruto nodded. I do, Naruto replied, his Hinata smile widening. And do you, Hyuga Hinata, take Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto as your husband? In sickness and in health? For richer or for poorer? For better or for worse? For as long as you both shall live? Koyuki asked, having just finished his questions when Hinata responded. I do. Exclaimed Hinata, letting out a small eep. And her face blushed slightly at being overly enthusiastic with her response, with some chuckling. By the power bestowed upon me as daimyo of Spring Country, I now pronounce you husband and wife of Las Noches of Whirlpool, and you may now kiss, declared Koyuki, with Hinata practically leaping from her position and passionately kissing Naruto on the lips, the ruler of Las Noches kissing back with the woman in his arms. Humans and Arankars alike cheered as they witnessed the union. No! Exclaimed Kurenai as she and the rest of the Konoha Shinobi watched the wedding from their hidden position and witnessed the nightmare. It had taken them so long to climb the wall and follow several Arankars to the wedding ceremony. Kurenai had Shino tag them with an insect while Kiba searched for Hinata's scent in this vast space. If they could find Hinata, they could free her before the wedding and get the hell out of this Kami awful place. Only to discover that the wedding had already ended with Hinata kissing Naruto on the lips, despite the presence of all the highly influential people required to declare the marriage legal. No one would dare to challenge such a marriage with a feudal lord performing the ceremony in a cage and his sister present to witness this historical moment. Because of the large crowd of people cheering loudly at what they saw, no one heard the Junin's cry of horror and outrage. "This is bad," Asuma said, and the Ino Shika Cho first generation nodded in agreement, while Jiraiya and Kurenai were enraged. That animal. He has the audacity to marry her? That beast is not worthy of being within 10 feet of Hinata. Kurenai exclaimed angrily, wishing to unleash all her female rage on Naruto for what she perceived to be a forced marriage. "What do you want to do, Jiraiya-sama?" Asuma asked, with Jiraiya standing nearby and watching the two. "Get out of here and report back to Tsunade." "I'll deal with Naruto on my own," Jiraiya said calmly, his team staring at him. "What? Why?" Inoichi asked, with Jiraiya remaining silent for a moment. "Because I have to do this. I have to handle this matter personally. Besides, if Naruto does kill me, I can always become a martyr, and Konoha can declare him to be a threat to the other villages, if not countries of the world," replied Jiraiya as music, singing, laughter, refreshments, and everything else associated with a wedding were playing. "You know Tsunade is going to kill us, right?" Asuma asked, Shikaku shivering in fear as he faced an angry female Hokage. "Yeah, she'll be busy trying to bring me back and then killing me before she goes after all of you," Jiraiya responded with a bitter chuckle before becoming serious. "You can't win, Jiraiya. You don't have your Sage Mode or the Toads anymore," Shikaku said, as Jiraiya's frown deepened. "I don't have to win, Shikaku. I just have to make sure Naruto loses." "Even if only slightly," Jiraiya replied, the Nara calculating the various ways the Sannin could do that before settling on the most obvious one. "You're going to kill Hinata, aren't you?" Shikaku asked, as everyone turned to face the Sannin. "He possesses a rare and exclusive to Konoha-only bloodline. It's standard policy that we make sure no one from her clan lives anywhere outside of Konoha, marries, or even breeds with anyone outside of Konoha to avoid a potential conflict. That's the rule, Shikaku. Besides, do you want to see her married to him? Have his baby?" replied Jiraiya, seeing Kurenai's eyes harden at his words, but softened knowing.
"If and when you do kill Hinata."
"Just do it quickly," Kurenai said, believing that killing Hinata was better for her former student than being Naruto's wife and future mother to any child they had together. "Of course," Jiraiya replied, knowing it would take all of his cunning to pull it off. "Pathetic," a voice above them said, and the Konoha Shinobi looked up to see a smiling figure with blue hair and a bone-like mouth along one side of his mouth. "Who are you?" Shikaku wondered, perplexed as to how this person could be so close to them. "My name is Jaegerjaquez Grimmjow, one of the Espada elite of Naruto Army Samas of Arankars," Grimmjow replied with a grin. "Arankars?" Asuma inquired, Grimmjow simply grinning at them. "Nice try, human, but that's all the information you're going to get out of me about us and the boss," Grimmjow replied, as the group of Konoha Shinobi watched the man slowly fall to the ground. "You haven't raised an alarm on us, why?" Choza inquired, noticing Grimmjow smirking at them. "I don't need to notify them of your presence. They were aware of your arrival before you even stepped off the boat," Grimmjow simply replied, grinning at the sight of their fear. "It's a trap," exclaimed Asuma before moving to punch Grimmjow in the face and being surprised that it had no effect on the Espada once contact was made. And screamed in agony when his entire arm broke in multiple places. "Asuma!" cried Kurenai as she moved closer to her secret husband, grinning even more at the sight of Asuma's broken bleeding arm. "That wasn't a bad punch, actually. You humans here are much tougher than the ones I know exist, but I think you should just give up and not piss off the boss. He just got married, Grimmjow simply replied, chuckling at Kurenai's angry expression. He won't be able to enjoy it for long. Kurenai countered venomously. Oh really? And how do you figure that? Grimmjow asked, his grin never leaving his face. You Espada elite don't seem to mind your surroundings, Shikaku said as he bound Grimmjow with his shadow possession jutsu and Jiraiya moved in to ruin Naruto's moment with Hinata. You just don't get it.
Your friend is rushing to his doom, Grimmjow simply responded.
Perhaps, but at the very least he'll make Naruto pay for taking Hinata away, Kurenai countered as she noticed the shadow holding Grimmjow snake its way to his throat. Do you think he'll kill the woman? That baka for a human won't get within 20 feet of Naruto wife. Samiz exclaimed Grimmjow, breaking the shadow possession jutsu and striking Shikaku in the gut with his fist. Shikaku! Exclaimed Choza, as Grimmjow raised his other hand and formed a red orb around it. Even if the guy does kill Naruto wife, Samiz, it just means the end of your people, and a whole lot of fun for me to help him exact his revenge, Grimmjow exclaimed as he blasted Shikaku in the face with his Sero until only the lower half of the man at the waist remained to fall to the floor. No! Yelled Inoichi as he watched his friend die while the sound of a battle could be heard where Naruto and Hinata were supposed to be dancing. One pathetic human down, many pathetic humans to go, Grimmjow said, his grin never leaving his face. Along with Naruto. Naruto was dancing with Hinata, the woman moving with him in their dance and enjoying the close proximity of their bodies. Hinata was perfectly content being held like this by Naruto and would give anything in the world to be held like this by him every day. The people around her watched as they danced slowly to wedding music and the speed of the dance itself. Hinata-chan? Naruto asked into her ear. Yes, Naruto-kun? Hinata replied into his own.
I just want to thank you for loving me. It was because of your love that I kept my sanity in the darkness of Hueco Mundo, where I was living after I died. Hate and madness had nearly consumed me into being a mindless beast, as everyone called me in Konoha. I felt nothing but the desire to destroy all that was life until I remembered your words. I heard them, I remember feeling your kiss, and the memory of it all calmed my being. And I meant every word, Hinata said, her face etched with a permanent smile. Intruder! Yelled an Arankar, causing everyone to turn to see Jiraiya of the Sannin rush over to the bride and groom, clutching a Rasengan. Jiraiya, you conceited fool, Naruto said more to himself than to Hinata. I'm not going to let him hurt you, Hinata said, her eyes bright and ready to fight by her husband's side. Jiraiya was upon them after leaping into the air after dodging Kami knows how many Arankars, some sand, and wind jutsu while the Exequias protected the civilian guests. Of course, Naruto had already given the Sannin orders to get this far. Jiraiya was the strongest of the entire group of shinobi entering Las Noches to no doubt retrieve Hinata from him due to his years of experience and the variety of jutsus he knew. It's not me, Jiraiya wants to kill Hinata-chan, Naruto responded, seeing the look in Jiraiya's eyes and realizing the intent to kill was not directed at himself. It was intended for Hinata. Activating the Garganta in front of him and Hinata, Jiraiya dives right into it with his Rasengan outstretched. Even if he tried, the man couldn't get away from it and was consumed by the Garganta. Moments later, another Garganta appeared, with Jiraiya emerging and landing in the middle of Konoha, much to everyone's surprise. As he rose from the ground, the Sannin looked up to see the hole in the sky closing in on him and cursed himself for falling for such a ruse. The others are now at the mercy of Naruto. Oh, no. Jiraiya reasoned, knowing Tsunade would be enraged to hear this. Naruto, on the other hand, had just calmed down and assured all of his guests that the uninvited guests from Konoha were being dealt with right now. After that, he went to confirm his words, and was pleased to see the Exequias had the Leaf Shinobi surrounded by Grimmjow there with a big fat grin on his face. Hey, boss. Does this demonstrate my loyalty? Grimmjow asked, seeing Naruto smirk at him. You know what, Grimmjow? This just might. Exequias. Take this pile of human trash away and put them in separate rooms so they don't talk to each other, Naruto replied, his Exequias obeying his command while Grimmjow smirked at him. You seem surprised, Grimmjow said, and Naruto smirked back. A little, can you blame me? Said Naruto, as Grimmjow shrugged. No, I'll admit I disobeyed orders when Aizen was in charge, but you're not some rogue Shinigami, so I see no reason to disobey, Grimmjow replied with a grin. That, and I'll kick your ass, Naruto said, and Grimmjow nodded reluctantly. That too, Grimmjow replied, because it was true. Come on, we're missing out on the celebration, Naruto said before using Sonito to return to the party. Sometime later, Hokage Tower. So he was expecting you, Danzo said with the councils and what remained of the clan heads meeting with the Hokage in the room when Jiraiya delivered his report. Yeah, Naruto knew before we even got off the boat, and he probably figured out what our plan was before we even set out to Whirlpool, Jiraiya replied, still reeling from the loss of his team. Naruto now had 3 clan heads, and Asuma was a member of both the Sarutobi clan and the Daimyo 12, along with his wife. Not to mention 2 clan heirs from Kurenai's old team who were supposed to assist with the Rakan. Who knows what Naruto was doing to them behind the walls of Las Noches in Whirlpool Country. Damn you. How do we bring them back to life? Tsunade was enraged at how bad things had gotten as a result of this. As if on cue, a hole appeared in the roof, and the 2 clan heirs fell through it right onto Jiraiya. Both appeared to have been beaten and bloodied. Akamaru came down seconds later, though the big dog appeared to be unharmed. Kiba. She exclaimed, seeing her son in such a state. Tsunade commanded, get these 2 to the hospital now. Shizune obeyed. It appears we have once again underestimated the Kyuubi brat, Danzo grumbled as he was defeated by what should have been the village's weapon. His armament. We have to counter the demon's actions now, exclaimed Hiyashi, as he now had his eldest child married to that demonic creature, and his clan couldn't even benefit from it. From what Jiraiya just reported to us, the Spring Daimyo herself performed the marriage between the 2, and the Cage of Suna with his sister witnessed the event. There is no way to challenge the legitimacy of the marriage performed with that level of influential people there. Hyuga Hinata was in an arranged marriage with Uchiha Sasuke, so this marriage she has with him is null and void. I'll ask the Fire Daimyo to negotiate her return here so she can be properly married to her rightful husband, Tsunade said, knowing it would appease the enraged Hyuga clan head. Please do so right away, Hokage-sama, because the longer Hinata stays with that beast, the more likely she will become pregnant with his child, and I will not call such an evil abomination my grandchild. Exclaimed Hiashi angrily. Las noches that evening. The 2 pieces of trash and the dog were delivered to their destination via Garganta, just as you requested Naruto-sama, Ulquiorra said, as Naruto smiled at him. Thank you, Ulquiorra. Hopefully they'll send Tsunade the message that crossing me isn't in Konoha's best interests, Naruto said as he walked down the long corridor that would soon lead to his chambers with the Espada. What do you want to do with the rest of the trash? Ulquiorra asked, knowing they still had to deal with the other prisoners. Grimmjow killed the Nara, correct? Said Naruto, frowning slightly, while Ulquiorra simply nodded. Yes, did you want him alive? Ulquiorra asked, shaking his head. No, that one comes from a clan full of highly intelligent shinobi despite their lazy Stark-like nature, and it was done in front of the others, instilling fear into their hearts, Naruto said as he came to a halt at the door leading to his chambers. And what fate have you decided for their lives? Ulquiorra inquired, noticing Naruto pause in thought. Have Grimmjow and Anko handle them, and tell them. Tell them, I want our guests to know the same kind of pain they unleashed on me when I was a child, Naruto said, his voice cold and deadly serious. As you command, Naruto-sama, Ulquiorra said before bowing and departing. After 2 weeks. Naruto-sama, an emissary from Fire Country has arrived bearing the emblem of the Fire Daimyo himself and requests an audience with you, said an Exequia's division Rancor. Interesting. Send him in, said a curious and slightly amused Naruto, sitting on his throne with a glowing Hinata beside him. I appreciate you seeing me, Namikaze-sama of Las Noches. I am honored to be here, the emissary said, bowing heavily before rising to his full height and noticing Naruto's calculating look. Exactly as you should. I don't just let anyone come to Las Noches and see me. I have many enemies who despise me with a fervor you wouldn't believe. So tell me, emissary of the Fire Daimyo, what does the feudal lord of Fire Country want with me that he would send you? Asked Naruto, with the emissary looking briefly at Hinata despite his best efforts to conceal it. Given that you were once dead after your execution on the order of Konoha's Hokage, it has come to the Fire Daimyo's attention that you are alive, and he wishes to express his gratitude. My daimyo, on the other hand, was told a little more than a week ago that you, ruined the marriage of Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Hinata. He wishes you to return Hyuga Hinata to Konoha, where her future husband is waiting to marry her, and to pay restitution to Konoha for your actions, said the emissary, her eyes narrowing at him. I see. So you're not here on the whims of the Fire Daimyo, but rather the Hokage herself, who no doubt bitched, complained, and basically sobbed her way into the heart of your feudal lord. Did the Hokage inform the Fire Daimyo that I am now married to this wonderful and exquisite woman beside me? Naruto inquired, putting a hand on Hinata, who had wrapped her hands around his own. Yes. She did, in fact. The Fire Daimyo believes that because Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Hinata's wedding was prearranged. Your marriage is invalid, explained the emissary, who was blasted by an intense wave of spiritual pressure and dropped to his knees before looking up to see who was causing it. I was surprised to see Hyuga Hinata. Naruto had known that the lifespans of humans and Arrancars would be vastly different since the night they married. He loved Hinata too much to see her grow old, gray, and die while his body remained alive for Kami knows how long, since Arrancars aged incredibly slowly, if at all, once fully developed. To counteract this, Naruto used his power to transform Hinata into an Arrancar like himself as he bit her shoulder on their wedding night, channeling the same power that the Hogyoku used to transform hollows into Arrancars. When this happened, the first human-turned Arrancar was born, and her name was Namikaze Hyuga Hinata. When they weren't rotting in bed for the past week, they were training Hinata in how to use her new powers, and she learned quickly. She desired to be powerful. Not just for herself, but to prove to Naruto that she was worthy of being his wife. Hinata pushed herself in their daily training sessions and made love to Naruto every night, the king of Las Noches loving every minute of it. While she was not in Naruto's general area of power, far from it given her inexperience, Hinata found herself among the double-digit Arrancar of Las Noches, and with enough training would be able to reach the single-digit ones. Naruto estimated that with a consistent, but rather harsh regimen of training, Hinata could achieve that goal within the next 5 years, and possibly even give Grimmjow a run for his money if she pushed it. From what Hyuga woman had seen in the massive public hot springs Naruto had personally built himself for the female Arrancars, the only real indication of Hinata being an Arrancar was actually well hidden around her chest area and acting like a very supported bra, just like Haribel had. There had been a problem with male Arrancars spying on the females, but Naruto put a stop to it by declaring that any male Arrancar caught spying would lose their manhood, and the females were allowed to beat them really hard with many strikes to the genitals. Few cases have been reported since then. You dare to declare my marriage to Naruto-kun null and void. What right does the Fire Daimyo have to prevent me from marrying the man I love? Our marriage was performed by another daimyo, with a Kage and his sister as witnesses, among many others. Exclaimed Hinata, as she watched the terrified man try not to look so pitiful in their presence, and pee himself under the intense pressure she had unleashed. It is not I, Hinata-sama, who is saying such a thing, but the Fire Daimyo of Fire Country, and I am only saying it to you because I am his emissary, the man said, looking into her angry eyes that spoke of unleashing pain on anyone who dared to cross her. The Hyuga woman stopped her invisible attack on the poor mortal man with a squeeze of his hand over Hinata's, and his wife looked at him with the desire to smite this man. He also knew that the same man struggling to breathe and not soil himself would be relieved if Hinata wasn't able to use Sero or even Bala just yet. Mr. Emissary, if you value your life, I would advise you to return to Fire Country immediately and deliver a message to the Fire Daimyo. A message to the Hokage about hearing their request of us, or rather my wife. You will tell them to go to hell and prepare for a war that will be a one-sided fight against them, Naruto replied, glaring down at the man nodding quickly in front of them. A Garganta appeared behind the man, her fashion now emerging from the shadows, and grabbed the emissary by the shoulder. As Naruto watched the five leave his and Hinata's sight, they were walking with the man who was currently being dragged behind them. They have the audacity to denounce our marriage, exclaimed Hinata as the Garganta closed, her pent-up rage over the situation resurfacing. Naruto already had to die for doing his job. It was even worse knowing she'd never marry him. Each new weight gained within Konoha with each passing day, month, and year, with the most recent being married to Uchiha Sasuke of all people, nearly made Hinata wish to end her life. And now those fools in Konoha dare to have the Fire Daimyo of Fire Country declare her marriage to Naruto to be void. Calm down, Hinata. The words of the Fire Daimyo are empty, Naruto said calmly, with Hinata only slightly calmer. It remains cruel. Our wedding was legal in every way, and they denounced it as some kind of abomination, explained Hinata, with Naruto nodding in agreement. I concur. I think it's time. We made sure they took our intentions seriously, Naruto said before snapping his fingers, and the exequious Chiludredborn appeared kneeling at the throne's steps. You summoned me, Naruto-sama? Rudborn asked, his head bowed. Yes. Bring the prisoners out of their cells and prepare some of your exequias for a trip with me to Konoha, Naruto replied, taking Hinata's hand and walking down the steps of the throne with Rudborn nodding before disappearing via Sonido. What are your plans? Hinata inquired, Naruto smirking at her. You will see, my dear. Naruto exclaimed, Ulquiorra. As the pale-skinned Espada appeared. You called Naruto-sama? Ulquiorra inquired upon his appearance. You're in charge of Las Noches and its defense until we return, Naruto said, nodding to the Espada. As you command, Naruto-sama, Ulquiorra replied, knowing that any and all threats to this place would be eliminated. What about Haribel-san? Hinata inquired as the Garganta opened and Rudborn appeared, accompanied by a small squad of exequias ready to depart with the bound prisoners. None of them appear to be in great shape. She is ensuring Mr. Emissary does his job, Naruto explained, noting that Haribel was in the room secretly watching. You'll pay for this, demon, exclaimed Inoichi as he kneeled and bled all over himself like the others. Grimmjow and Anko really went to town on them all at Naruto's command. How does it feel to be aware of a fraction of my anguish, Inoichi? I still owe you a lot for your mental assaults on me while I was awaiting execution. But don't worry. For what I have in mind will be more than adequate punishment, Naruto replied before motioning his forces forward into the Garganta with Hinata beside him. Their fingers were entwined. Village Square in Konoha. When the Garganta opened, it alerted every shinobi that they were being attacked, and when Naruto appeared, the village populace panicked. They had long assumed that with the death of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, the bane of their village's existence had been removed, and that they could move on with the demons suffering in hell. It was only right. The Kyuubi had taken so much from them, and they deserved to be compensated for the trouble the fox had caused them. That's what they thought. The Sandaime never told them otherwise, so without hearing anything to contradict their beliefs, the village sought to injure the boy holding the fox, eventually killing him. Only for the fox to reappear alive and stronger than ever. Jiraiya. Tsunade. Bring your shriveled old asses out here. Naruto called out for the entire village to hear, knowing that those two were on their way. 3, 2, 1. And die, monster! Yelled Tsunade as she charged at him, fist down, aiming to sever his head, and was surprised when he blocked the strike with only his right index finger. I'm still using all of my muscles except the one that matters the most. Not that you could because it's so badly damaged from years of drinking sake non-stop, Naruto replied casually, deflecting her attack and responding by sending Tsunade flying back with a simple flick of his finger to her forehead. Rasengan! Exclaimed Jiraiya, charging from the ground with his chakra orb in hand, attempting to thrust it into his former student. Naruto then catches the offending hand and breaks the Sanin's wrist. What are you without your sage abilities? Just a one-trick pony? Asked Naruto, surprised that Jiraiya would know. Who told you? Jiraiya asked, smirking at Naruto. Enko summoned Manda, and after some conversation, we established some new ground rules for the big purple snake in the grass to accept her as his main summoner, and had him void Orochimaru's own snake contract. Soon after, Enko summoned one of the high-ranking snakes and inquired about Konoha's own situation. As you might expect, the three-headed snake told us a lot about the toads and slugs breaking their contracts with you. Not to mention how your fellow Sannin in Rice Country is trying to figure out why he can't summon even the youngest of Manda's children, Naruto explained, Jiraiya frowning. So it's not a secret, Jiraiya said, smirking even more. Summoning animals don't keep secrets like that between themselves. Apparently, they have to share such information with each other, and they know how to keep such pathetic summoners from taking another contract. Among all the animal boss summons, it is one of the rules of being a summoning boss. If you don't follow it, you can't be a boss and are excommunicated from the animal family, Naruto explained, with Jiraiya frowning even more. Why are you here? Jiraiya asked, smirking, before turning to face Tsunade, looking for an opening to strike against him and Hinata. Simple. I want my necklace back from the thief who stole it, and I'm willing to trade one of my prisoners for it. Of course. If Tsunade is willing to bargain, Naruto said, Tsunade fuming. How could you? This jewel is mine, and it has been since my grandfather's time, Tsunade exclaimed angrily. As I recall, you lost that jewel in a bet with me a long time ago, and it became mine. You stole it from me before I died, so you're a thief. Naruto fired back, Tsunade glaring at him with daggers. I only offered you the necklace in this bet for amusement at best, and at worst to quickly kill you like it did Naoki or Dan. When you died, I knew it had done its job of cursing its wearer with death, and even you succumbed to its power, Tsunade explained, a tinge of joy in her voice as she realized the brat had been defeated by the curse of her grandfather's jewel. No. I was killed because you and Jiraiya were idiots. You murdered me as a form of retaliation for what happened to my parents. It had nothing to do with the necklace I was wearing. You two caused it, so in a way, you are a curse to everyone you love. Or supposedly love, Naruto smirked, seeing Tsunade's theory about the necklace being linked to him being shot down. Close your mouth, brat. Tsunade yelled as she slammed her fists into the ground, throwing her opponent off balance. It didn't even cause Naruto or Arrancar to blink. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Such an enraged reaction is unworthy of someone in your position as Hokage of Konoha, old hag. Clearly, you are not meant to hold the position, and should simply step down, Naruto countered, kicking Jiraiya away from him until the Sannin skidded right beside Tsunade. "Fucking monster!" exclaimed Jiraiya, clutching his ribs, aware that they were either cracked or broken. Yeah. Keep it for someone who cares what you think of them, old pervert. Now, back to the main point. Tsunade, the jewel. Hand it over. Or all of these Konoha Shinobi you ordered to enter Las Noches to kidnap Hinata from my home will die, slowly, right in front of your eyes, Naruto said before snapping his fingers and the Exequias drew their Zanpakutos. You wouldn't. Exclaimed Tsunade, smirking at Naruto. What's to stop me? These jerks did not honor my father's dying wish, nor did they ever treat me with respect as you did as a child. On your orders, I was tortured both physically and mentally before my execution, with people cheering the entire time I was on the execution grounds, chanting, "Kill him." So loudly that I'm sure Iwa heard everything. They are deserving of death for their crimes against me. To suffer as I have, knowing that they will leave this world with unanswered questions about what will happen to their loved ones. You wanted me to die because you were afraid of my wrathful hand swatting them and their souls into the abyss that is hell. So, Senju Tsunade, my mother's loving surrogate mother, tell me right now. What do you have in mind to save this group from an agonizing death? Kiba and Shino were spared death because Naruto wanted to send a message that his side of the fence was more than capable of hurting Konoha. It was now time to raise the stakes to ensure that everyone got the message loud and clear. Tsunade demanded, "Give them back. Now." As Naruto shook his head at her. "You're still taking me seriously. Let me demonstrate why you should take me seriously." Rudborn extended Asuma's arm out, Naruto replied, with Rudborn nodding and extending Asuma's broken arm as the man cried out in pain. "Stop right now," Kurenai called out, and Naruto gave her a brief glance before turning to face Asuma. Rudborn. That's wrong arm, Naruto observed the Exequia's head dropping the damaged limb and extending the other. "What are you doing?" Tsunade inquired as Naruto drew his Zanpakuto from his sheath. "I'm forcing you to take me seriously," Naruto replied before severing Asuma's arm at the elbow, causing the man to scream in pain as blood flowed from his wound. Kurenai and Tsunade exclaimed, "Asuma," as they noticed the man had lost a limb. "Are you still thinking I'm joking, old hag?" asked Naruto as Tsunade gritted her teeth at him as he sheathed his blade. "Fine. Take that necklace. I hope it kills you again," Tsunade exclaimed as she ripped it off her body and was about to throw it at him when he held up his hand. "Wait. The necklace is only one piece of the puzzle. I want Ayame, her father, the Konohamaru core, Shizune, and Iruka to be a part of this little exchange between us," Naruto replied, making the Hokage even angrier. "Do you expect me to exchange one Sarutobi for another? After just crippling one?" Tsunade exclaimed angrily, not understanding why the demon brat would want Shizune. Shizune wasn't one of those Naruto fans, was she? If you act quickly enough, his arm can still be attached. If they don't arrive within the next 10 minutes, another limb from one of the others will be amputated. Let's start with Kurenai, Naruto explained, pointing to the woman who was staring at him with daggers. Naruto would never forgive the Junin for constantly trying out new genjutsus on him. Each one was designed to make him feel past his physical abuser's pain and anguish, and to see how effective they were in making the body believe he was being attacked to the point where the body injured itself. Kurenai was forced to stop when the fox within Naruto began to fight them involuntarily. That didn't stop Kurenai from unleashing them all during his torture before his execution, with the woman smiling cruelly as she did it. It was now his turn to repay the scumbag of a woman. "You cretin!" Tsunade exclaimed, smirking at Naruto. "Didn't I learn from the best? I had the entire village teach me the hard way how to lash out when someone is being spiteful. What's the problem? Can't stand it when your teachings are used against you. Doesn't it hurt you deep down?" When Tsunade saw the smirk on Naruto's face, she became enraged. "If it's the last thing I do, I'll kill you." Tsunade retaliated angrily. "Tsunade, time is ticking. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. The very lives and careers of your shinobi are on the line," Naruto said, ignoring her angry expression. Arrive Shizune, the Konohamaru Corps, Iruka, Ayame, and her father. Commanded an enraged Tsunade to a nearby Junin, who nodded and disappeared from her sight. Wisdom. For once, Naruto said before Haribel with Frashun appeared via Sonido and bowed slightly in his presence. The Fire Daimyo's emissary reported back to him on what you told him about Konoha's demand for your wife Naruto-sama. The feudal lord is not happy to be challenged, Haribel explained, with Naruto dismissing the matter. Haribel-san, he's probably used to getting his way. What was his plan of action? Haribel, who was now surrounded on all sides by Konoha Shinobi, asked Naruto. The Fire Daimyo foolishly ordered his samurai to capture me after I informed him that I was a member of your army's Espada elite. It didn't end well for them, Haribel replied, with Naruto smirking at her. It usually doesn't for those who cross blades with you, Naruto replied with a small chuckle, while the Espada's Frashun simply smirked. The Fire Daimyo himself is also dead, Haribel said quietly, so no one could hear her. Go back to Las Noches. Haribel-san. I left Ulquiorra in command until my return, Naruto said, nodding and departing via Sonido. Within 5 minutes, the group Naruto had requested had arrived, and thus the prisoner exchange began. First, the Konohamaru Corps had been exchanged for Asuma in order for a medic nin to save his arms and his shinobi career. Choza was then traded for Ayame and her father, followed by Iruka in exchange for Inoichi. Things became heated when Shizune was to be exchanged for Kurenai. Why do you want Shizune so badly, Naruto? Tsunade asked, her student-turned assistant not looking the Hokage in the eyes. Do you really need to ask? Shizune, unlike you, never hated me, but she couldn't speak out against you either, and she had to watch me suffer in silence. You were so focused on seeing me hurt that you didn't notice how Shizune despised what was happening to me or how she felt afterwards, Naruto explained, Shizune smiling at him while Tsunade glared at her. How can you abandon me? My emotions should be important to you. How can you not despise him for stealing Kushina from me? Tsunade inquired, Shizune shaking her head. They are important, Tsunade. But as I grew up traveling with you, I noticed how in your drunken state you kept going on and on about how the Kyuubi brat had just robbed you of a girl who had become like a daughter to you. I embraced that hatred at first, but it died when I met Naruto and couldn't see how he could have caused Kushina's death. He cared about others, defended the village that despised him, and even shielded you from Kabuto. How could I dislike him? Naruto worked himself to the bone for this village, dreaming of becoming Hokage like his parents. I couldn't hate him just because you did, Tsunade, Shizune explained, while Naruto simply smiled at her. I see. Is that your final decision? Tsunade asked Shizune, her gaze fixed on the younger woman. It is, Tsunade. I am unable to serve you any longer. Dan, Nawaki, and, more importantly, your own grandparents would be ashamed of you considering Mito-san was Kyuubi's first jailer and Kushina was the second, Shizune replied before beginning to walk towards Naruto while the Arankar grabbed Kurenai and lightly kicked the woman in the back to make the Junin walk forward. But things were spiraling out of control in Tsunade's mind, and seeing Shizune walk away to join her hated enemy was a crushing blow to any stability she had left. Years of suffering losses, one after the other, within her own family, among her friends during the wars, and now Shizune herself was defecting to the enemy's side. Tsunade felt as if she had lost someone else in her life, and Shizune was now all but dead to her. If you want to play it that way. Fine. Tsunade exclaimed, Die, you traitor. As she moved quickly to punch Shizune's head clean off her skull or splatter her head all over the place, staining the village's enemies with the woman's blood. Only for the Hokage to be thrown back by a strike to the gut, and many onlookers were surprised to see that the source of the blow was not Naruto. Hinata was the name. That's my wife, Naruto said proudly, seeing his wife use Sonito and hit the Hokage with her gentle fist. Hinata! Exclaimed Kurenai angrily, but was quickly silenced when Hinata struck her in the stomach and several other points around the torso region before she collapsed in agony. In case you're wondering what I just did to you, my former sensei. Just let's say being a mother is going to get even more difficult, Hinata replied coldly as Kurenai's shock washed over him. She ruined my womb. I'll never have children. Kurenai thought as she lay on the ground, tears streaming down her cheeks and the horror of being denied the right to bring a child into the world striking deep within her heart. Think of it as a proper punishment for what you once said about how you would have seen to it that Naruto never had children with me or anyone else if he had been allowed to live that long, Hinata said, remembering that night a few months after Naruto's death, and the people still on their fantasy world celebration. Kurenai was in a bar with Asuma, Kakashi, and a few other Junin with Hinata's former sense telling everyone how she would have castrated Naruto if he had shown any interest in the Hyuga girl. How she would do everything in her power to deny Naruto the mere possibility of fathering a child by any woman, and how she would do the world a favor by ensuring that no child of his bloodline existed. When asked why she didn't do it before the brat's execution, Kurenai simply shrugged and said, I didn't simply on a whim of mercy, but if I could do it now, I would. Hinata ran away because she couldn't hear anymore. Kurenai had no idea she'd heard this, and the Junin had often wondered why Hinata had been staring at her so much since that night. Kurenai now understood why. We're finished here. It's time to go, Naruto said finally, as he opened a Garganta and the Exequias escorted his group through it, Hinata and himself being the last. It's war, Naruto. Can you truly live with yourself knowing that your people will perish? Jiraiya called out to Naruto, who turned his head slightly to look back at him. You should be asking yourself the same question about Konoha, because none of my forces have demonstrated even a fraction of their potential. Jiraiya, you've completely forgotten about me. Think about that while your village falls into darkness, Naruto replied as the Garganta closed in behind him. Damn him! Exclaimed Jiraiya, looking around at the downed shinobi.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.